Hello, welcome back to Fires Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're going to continue on with Ever17. So last time out, we ran into Coco again, the little girl from the prologue, except it looks like the kid is the only one who can see or hear her, so that's kind of weird. Yeah, let's pick it up here. A few hours later, the installation started to flood again. Tritish stock from the partition to the cosmic whale was submerged. Casualties, none. Flooding to other rooms, none. Chance of damage spreading, none. Sora's voice conveyed the situation over the intercom in a matter-of-fact tone. The cosmic whale room. I had been there until just shortly before the flooding, but somehow it felt like some event that had taken place thousands of miles away. I covered my head with the blanket, closed my eyes, and tried to sleep. I tried to search for for the world I should be in, for the place I should return to, and for myself. The next thing I knew, I was standing there. The quarter I was in wasn't very popular. It was completely silent. It was narrow, dark, cold. Where is this? I wondered if I was really in Lemieux. Nothing looked familiar. It was like an unknown world. I just stood there in the middle of the foreign corridor. Wait, I knew that space. For some reason, it seemed familiar to me. Like an image that appears and hides in the mist, not quite visible. Or like the moon peeking between gaps in a thick night fog. It was a corridor that stretched on straight forward. It seemed to go on forever in both directions. I started walking without really thinking about it. I've been here before. But when could that have been? It felt like something long ago, but at the same time like something recent. I couldn't remember when. I just kept walking to nowhere in particular. I have to go. But where was it that I felt I had to go? I didn't know why, but I felt that I had to go. That's why I'm walking. In a soundless world. A colorless world. A scentless world. A world that didn't exist anywhere. And then the scenery suddenly changed. I found myself in a big room. It was big and white and quiet. This looks like a hospital. That was what I thought. In a corner of the room were 3 capsule-like machines. As if they were calling out to me, I approached the capsules. Someone was in the capsule. Someone was in there sleeping. I reached out my right hand towards the capsule. My hand made contact. In that instant, without a sound, the lights went off. Huh? Startled, I tried to jump backward. But my right hand was stuck to the capsule and I couldn't pull it back. I looked back at the capsule. From the point where my hand was touching the capsule's lid, a blackish, sticky liquid began seeping out. No, it was more like dark blue than black. The capsule continued to ooze, blackish blue and deep blue. I didn't know and couldn't imagine what was going on. That's right, someone's inside. I have to open this and save them. But my body wouldn't move. I felt paralyzed. I stopped breathing and could only watch what was unfolding. Finally, that sticky blue liquid covered the entire capsule. But it didn't stop there, it kept going. To the floor, the walls, the ceiling, as if it would swallow the whole room. It was like a living animal with a will of its own reproducing itself. The sticky blue liquid began to crawl up my body. Up my legs and my hands, inside my clothes, between my legs. I couldn't shake it off or scream, I could only watch. After covering my body, it forced open my mouth and started into my body. It invaded me through my ears, nose, and the pores of my skin. In my body, the blue traveled around, reaching my brain, my lungs, and my heart. It began eating away at my brain, my organs, and blood vessels. The blue liquid sucked my blood and started changing its color to black. I was changing into something that wasn't me. Assaulted by boundless fear and horrible despair, I howled a soundless scream. That's a pretty nice nightmare there. My eyes snapped open. The next thing I knew, I was on a bed. It smelled of disinfectant, and I wondered where I was. I was drenched in sweat. My heart was pounding. I had a dull headache. I lifted up my torso and glanced around me. The room was dim, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. It was scenery that I knew. Oh yeah, I'm back in the infirmary. I finally realized I had just been having a dream. I got my breath back and thought back to the dream. Let's see. What had seemed so vivid only moments ago seemed to vanish from my mind like clouds covering the night sky. All that was left was an unknown fear, a slight headache, and a fragment of a dream. I gave up and looked around me. The area was enveloped in a faint darkness. It wasn't a blackout. The lights had been dimmed to make it easier to sleep. The proof seemed to be the sleeping breathing that I could hear coming from the bed next to me. I thought it might be Sarah. Now, wide awake, I got out of bed. I suddenly noticed something. There was someone laying face down next to my bed asleep. I squinted to see who it might be. It was you. I thought that she was going to be sore for sure after sleeping in that position. To at least keep her from catching a cold, I went to cover her with a blanket. Just then... Oh, kid? Good morning. Oh, did I wake you up? No, I didn't mean to go to sleep. I guess I just dozed off. All right then. You shouted as you stood up. So, how are you feeling? I feel perfectly fine. How could you be? You've been hearing things, seeing things. That's proof that your nerves are shot. I've been looking out for you every night, so I feel kind of responsible. It's not your fault. Well, that makes me feel a little better. Saying that, you shrugged your shoulders. I'm done with the bed, so you can sleep here, you. What about you? I slept enough this afternoon. I'm not tired. I see. You thought for a minute. In that case, will you hang out with me tonight? Sure. So we decided to hang out again that night in what seemed to be becoming a nightly ritual. The Lemurian Ruins. We climbed on top of the roof of one of the buildings, gazed out over the scenery. I actually didn't know why we decided to climb up that particular night, but if I were to take a stab at the reason, it was probably because Lemuria was so beautiful then. For a while, the two of us were silent, just enjoying the view. Finally, I started the conversation. Let's get to the bottom of things. To the bottom of what? Let's get to the truth about your past. About your father and mother. That and the truth about my past. About my lost memories and my ability to see the future. That and one more thing. The truth about all of our pasts and why this accident happened. Why were we the only ones trapped here? Why couldn't we get out? I'm tired of dwelling on this. I mean it. Let's really figure things out tonight. Kid? You stared into the distance. I'm sorry, but could we just forget about that today? No? Why? I just feel so tired. That wasn't the reason I invited you here today. I wondered why we had come here. Why do you get so caught up in knowing about the past of people? You can never take back what's happened in the past. All we can do is live in the moment with what's happening to us right this instant. We can't hop back and forth to the past or the future. The future will come.
けれどその瞬間が訪れるまで未来はただの暗闇。
But until that moment comes, the future is just like the dark.
何も見えない。
You can't see anything.
1分後何が起こるのかさえわからない。
You never know what might happen a minute from now.
未来が怖くてだから人は振り返る。
The future is scary, so that's why people look to the past.
振り返って過去を見るとそこには光が照らされている。
If you look back, everything is clearly illuminated.
でもね、
But
過去だって同じこと。
the past is really the same.
遠のけば遠のくほど闇の中に紛れて見えなくなってしまう。
The further that you get away from the present, the darker it is, and the less you can see. To me, it seemed to lose your memory, like I had made everything pitch black. Now, rather, things became nothing.
私たちが知ることのできる領域なんてほんの些細なものなのよ。
The only sphere that we can truly know is really tiny.
特に時の流れに対しては盲目に等しい。
Especially when it comes to time, we're essentially blind.
だから私は
That's why I...
今この瞬間だけを大切にしようと思う。
I just want to value this moment.
過去や未来のことなんてもうどうでもよくなっちゃったんだ。
The past and the future, I don't care about them anymore. I was left speechless. There's nothing I could be expected to say, because she was no longer focused on reflecting on her past. She was different from me. I alone was intent on knowing everything. I believed that I had to know it, or else. But he wasn't like that. The dragon had left the damsel free. There was no longer any need to vanquish it. I didn't know how much time had passed. There was nothing for us to do, so we just gave ourselves up to slowly passing time. Even though there's no meaning in it, I didn't feel that there's any reason for being there. I've had enough of this. I stood up quickly. So, should we get some sleep? Huh? What? What's wrong?
もうちょっと
I want...
もうちょっとだけ一緒にいたいかも。
I want to spend just a little more time with you. Huh? But there's nothing for us to do, is there? That's what I was about to say, but you
君
said...
と一緒にいるとなんだか落ち着くの。だから
There's something about being with you that relaxes me. I sat down again where I was. I figured that even if it was nothing to me, it might mean something to her.
ねえ、私が今何考えてるかわかる？
Hey, do you know what I'm thinking right now? I shook my
当
head.
ててみて。
Guess. How am I supposed to know?
タイムスリップしたんでしょ？
You travel through time, right?
同じ出来事を経験したことがあるんでしょ？
You experienced all this before, right?
だったらこれから私が何をするのか知ってるはずじゃない。
In that case, you should know what I'm about to do. You don't believe in time travel, right?
それとこれとは話が別。
Too early. That's not what I'm saying.
当ててみて。
So guess. You repeated yourself. What you're gonna do?
うん。多分。
Yeah, probably. What you're gonna do?
だから当ててみてって言ってるでしょ？
I keep telling you to guess, right?
わからないの？
You don't know? I don't know.
そういう時はどうすればいいんだっけ？
What is it you're supposed to do at times like this? What?
もう一つの目を使うのよ。
Use your other eye. My other eye. The third eye?
そう。
Yep.
第三の目が開眼すると真の知恵が湧き万物を見通すことができる。
When the third eye opens, true wisdom is apparent and all becomes visible. But how?
教えてほしい?
You want me to teach you? Yeah. It was something I had hoped for. If I could harness that power in my past memory...
一つ目の目はどこにあるのか知ってる?
First, do you know where the first eye is? I cocked my head, thinking.
ここよ.
It's here. As she spoke, Yu's index finger approached my right eye. I closed it. The tip of Yu's finger touched my eyelid.
じゃあ二つ目の目は
And the second eye?
ここ.
Right here. Without giving me a second to think, Yu did the same thing to my left eye.
最後に第三の
And the third eye?
目. それはここに.
That's right here. I felt something soft touch my lips. Startled, I opened my eyes. My mind went completely blank. I couldn't think of anything. The third eye? Had I found true wisdom and all things become visible to me? It was a lie. I felt more and more confused. I only seen in front of me the soft touch of skin, and the sweet smell that made my brain numb. It was all I could do to absorb these. That so-called third eye gave only the truth, warmth, confusion, and affection then. That night passed as I etched, pierced, slow, and new memories into my mind. Cool, alright. The next morning. After breakfast, we all gathered in the conference room. More accurately, we gathered because Sora had called us together. Tsugumi also made a rare appearance.
皆さんにお集まりいただいたのは他でもありません.
There's an important reason why I've called all of you here.
一刻も早くお知らせしなければならないことがあったのです.
There's something that I wanted to inform you about as soon as possible.
辛いでしょうが、現在の状況を正しく把握する必要があります.
I know it is difficult, but it is important for you to accurately realize the full gravity of this situation.
取り乱さず、落ち着いて、心して聞いてください.
Please don't panic, settle down, and listen carefully. Sora paused for a second. She looked at all five of us in turn, you, Skimmy, Sarah, Takshi, and then me, before continuing. The conference room was silent. But I could hear the sound of water faintly from somewhere. Was it water lapping in the corridors? Moments later, I couldn't hear it anymore. As if Sora was waiting for this cue, she slowly opened her mouth.
元凶は芳しくありません.
The situation is not good. Sora extended her hand and a holographic window appeared in the space in front of us. It felt like I hadn't seen her do that for a while.
今のところ、新たな浸水の兆候がはっきり現れている箇所はありません.
Currently, there are no areas that show signs of new flooding.
昨夜のドリッドシュトックのコスミッシャーバル浸水以来、際立った被害は出ていませんが。
Since the flooding of the Cosmic Whale area in Jitterstock last night, there has been no further reports of significant damage.
その浸水によってレミューを支える支柱への負担は増大しました.
The burden being placed on the Muse spot comms has increased due to the flooding.
フロア間の歪みは大きくなりつつあります.
The structural distortion between floors is increasing.
このまま行くと、レミューはやがて平行バランスを崩し、大きく傾くことになるでしょう.
If this continues, the Mew will eventually lose its equilibrium and tilt dramatically.
フロア区画の連結部への損傷が重なれば、健在な区画にも各種パイプなどを通して水が侵入してくる可能性があります.
If the damage to the areas connecting the floors to different sectors increases, there is a possibility that the pipe leaks could flood the dry sectors.
つまり、油断のならない状況となっています.
In other words, we can't afford to be careless. Things are critical.
以前お伝えしたと思いますが、
I think that I've told you this before.
レミューの完全悪化推定時刻は5月7日午前4時30分前後となっています.
The implosion of the Mew is estimated to occur at 4:30 a.m. on May 7th.
推定誤差はプラスマイナス12時間程度です.
This calculation has a margin of error of plus minus 12 hours.
この推定数値には今のところ大きな変更はかかっていません.
There's been no significant change in this prediction.
核兵器強度は一部においてすでに限界を超えつつあるのです.
In one area, the strength limits of partitions have already been exceeded.
崩壊は段階的に少しずつしかし確実に起こります。
Destruction of the Mu will be gradual, but inevitably and occur steadily.
それはもう時間の問題です。
It's only a matter of time. Sarah told us all this with a calm look on her face. We all swallowed and held our breath as we listened. We knew we were reaching our time limit. We had no choice but to accept that reality. There's no avoiding the situation.
現在発電施設は順調に稼働しています。
Presently, the generator facilities are functioning normally.
ですが万が一発電機が停止してしまった場合は非常電源蓄電池を使用します。
However, if by chance there's a blackout, we'll switch to the emergency power source battery.
通常は非常灯の点灯とシステムの保持に使われている程度のものですが2時間くらいは持つものと思います。
This is generally meant for supporting the emergency lighting and maintenance on the Mu system. It should last for about 2 hours. Sora's matter-of-fact way of speaking only raised the tension in our minds. For Takashi and Sarah and Sugimi, and for you, I couldn't get the image of you burned into my brain the night before out of my mind. I still felt as if our lips were touching. From the morning, you and I had avoided one another's eyes. I wasn't sure if we'd even exchange words. You looked straight ahead. I was more conscious of you than of anything else. I didn't know how I should act around her from now on, but I had other things to worry about. I listened to the
従
conversation.
来の通信回路については依然不通。
The normal communication channels are still not functioning.
脱出方法も見つかっていません。
Neither have I found an escape
で
route.
すが
However,
館内レムシステムは全力を挙げて皆さんの生命維持を最優先事項としそのための環境保全に努めます。
I have made protecting you my top priority, and Lemmy is devoting all of its resources to that objective.
また館外で操作可能なセンサー、ライト、マニピュレーターなどを総動員し
I am also using all sensors, lights, manipulators, and means at my disposal outside of the
そ
complex.
れらを使っての光波、電波、音波による通信の送受信の可能性を改めて検証中です。
And I'm still investigating whether there are any means of communicating with the outside using light, radio, or sound. Sora nodded her head, straightened her back, and surveyed the room. We were all silent. There was a look of determination in her eyes.
言わせてもらいますと
Let me say one more thing.
これは意地です。私、茜ヶ崎空の意地。
As long as I, Sora Kanagasaki, exist,
できることはわずかですが、皆さんがここにいられる限り、
and while my powers are limited, as long as you are here,
皆さんがここから無事脱出するためのあらゆる手段、方法を私は考え、試したいと思っています。
I will do my utmost to find a way for you to escape to safety.
あとしばらくの間、よろしくお付き合いのほどお願いいたします。
We do not have much longer together, but I, Sora Kanagasaki, am at your service. She concluded with a serious nod. We all nodded.
助けは必ず来ます。信じて待ちましょう。
We must wait and believe that help is on its way. Sora's serious expression gave way to a
皆
smile.
さんが無事救出されることをお祈りします。
Everyone, let's pray for a safe rescue. The gloomy atmosphere that had been hanging over the gathering lightened, and everyone started thinking about how they should spend their time. Sora smiled and instilled everyone with courage. I was grateful for that piece of code in Sora's AI program, the function that allowed her to be calm in times of trouble.
それでは一旦は解散としましょう。
Now, let's end this meeting.
何か事実がつかめるまで各自自由に行動してください。
Until there's new information available, please do what you will.
ただし何かを発見した場合は即座にレミを通じて私に知らせるということで。
However, if you do discover anything, please inform me immediately via Lemmy.
ソラ、ちょっといい？
Excuse me, Sora.
あ、はい。小町さん、何でしょうか？
Yes, Sugimi? Sugimi suddenly stood in front of Sora. Her smile seemed just a little forced.
話があるの。二人で話したいんだけど。
There's something I want to talk with you about, alone.
二人きりでですか？
In private?
ええ、お願い。
Yes, please.
実は脱出についてあなたに一つ提案があるのよ。
Actually, I have a proposal, an idea of how to escape from here.
本当ですか？何かいい方法が？
Yes, really? Have you come up with a good method?
そうよ。あなたも知らない。私だけが知っている方法。
Yeah, one that you don't know. Only I know about it.
聞いたところによれば、あなた自立行動のプライオリティを入れ替えてもらったそうね。さらに
I heard from Sarah that your operating priority has been changed.
レミにライプリヒに対する守秘義務意識は以前ほど強固なものではない。
You aren't as stubborn about protecting your livelihood as before.
はい、それが何か？
Yes, and what about it?
今のあなたなら私に協力できるかもしれない。
Maybe you can work with me now.
おい、ちょっと待てよ、つぐみ。空も。
Huh? Hey, Skimmy, hold on. Sora
あなた
is...
は黙ってて。
You be quiet. Skimmy held up her hand as if silencing Takshi.
私は空と二人だけで話したいの。
I want to talk to Sora alone.
構わないでしょ？
Surely you don't mind.
はい、わかりました。では、中央制御室で。
Of course, and we'll speak in the central control room.
そうね。行きましょうか。
Alright, let's go then. With serious looks on their faces, the two of them headed out of the room.
おい、待てよ、二人とも。勝手なことすんな。
Hey, wait you two, what about us?
そんな大事な話なら、むしろここで。
If it's important, we should talk about it here. Skumi glared back at Takshi. Her eyes were like ice.
黙っててって言ったでしょ。
I told you to be quiet. She turned her back on Takshi again, and the two of them left the conference room. The room suddenly fell silent.
なんだよ。
Jeez,
なんだってんだよ。
what's that all about? Those of us left stared at the hologram in the conference room and settled down to plotting a strategy to save ourselves. The four of us, you, Sarah, Takshi, and I, gathered around the table. We reviewed the facts as we knew them. There were two ways to get to the surface from Lemieux. One, use the elevator in the central area. Two, climb one of the complex's 12 sets of emergency stairs. The central area floor was completely flooded. Even if we could get to the elevator, we couldn't be certain that it would move. We still didn't know the cause of that either. The emergency stairs were also filled with water from the second floor, so they were impassable. Right now, there's only one method that could be used to remove the floodwater. That was to use the high-pressure fan to pump the complex full of high-pressure gases and purge it of seawater. But at that moment, we weren't able to operate the fan from inside Lemieux. And like the elevators, we still had no idea why. If we couldn't start from the inside, then it could be started from the outside. But all communication channels to the outside had been cut off. The swimming our way to freedom was out of the question. The water pressure and other problems made that suicidal. And if we couldn't find a way out on our own, then we'd have to rely on rescue efforts from outside. But that was something we couldn't depend on. We hadn't been able to communicate with the outside for the 5 days since we were trapped, and there were no signs help was coming. So we knew that we had to exclude a miracle rescue from our options. No, from the beginning. We had reconciled ourselves with the facts of our situation long before. We figured that since there had been no contact or rescue, not even the slightest sign, that maybe there's a reason people couldn't get near Lemieux. Or maybe someone had intentionally sealed us in. So we came up with 3 steps we should focus on. A. Restoring communications with the outside. But this was only relevant if the people on the outside were willing to cooperate. B. Find another way to drain the water from the complex other than the high-pressure fan. But according to Sora, there was no other way to do this. C. Find an escape route other than the elevator emergency stairs, like maybe a submarine. But according to Sora's information, there were no longer any left in Lemieux. She had said that they had all been used during the evacuation on May 1st. Final conclusion. Current prognosis for escape? Hopeless. But there was one thing. Tsugumi had said that there was an escape method that only she knew about. If it did in fact exist, and there was a way that all 6 of us could escape, then that would be our only hope. Apparently all that noise meant right.
結局のところ、俺たちには打つ手なしってことか。
Yeah, there's really nothing we can do.
つぐみと空の報告を待つしかないね。
We'll just have to wait for a report from Skimmy and Zora.
にしても、 つぐみのやつ遅えな。
Yeah, but Skimmy hasn't even come back yet.
いくらなんでも遅すぎるよね。
She is kind of taking a long time.
何かあったんでしょうかね。
Maybe there's a reason.
うーん。
Apparently that sad sigh means maybe somehow. Hey, should I go see how things are going?
そうだな。よろしく頼む。
Yeah, you go do that.
一人で大丈夫？
You okay alone? Yeah, fine. I'll just go take a peek. And with that, I left the conference room. I headed down the corridor to the control room. With the situation the way it was, no matter how much we worried about it, we weren't going to find a solution. That was clear. So we would have to take control of the situation. But how could we do that? We couldn't just rely on thinking, we needed to act. The key to the first step down that path was in the hands of Scooby and Sora. That was what I believed. I arrived from the control room. I pushed the intercom buzzer, but there was no answer. My only choice was to open the door. When I did, I heard Scooby shouting,
何べんも同じことを言わせないで。
Don't make me keep repeating the same thing. Scooby and Sora were in the middle of an argument so intense it seemed they might start going at it hand in hand. Except, a hologram, but neither one would give an inch. They just glared at one another. It looked as though they'd been fighting for several minutes. The room was filled with tension. The two glanced at me for only an instant before launching back into their argument.
ですから、先ほどから申し上げている通り、そのような場所など存在しないのです。
Like I've been telling you, that place just does not exist.
ねえ、ソラ、お願いだから、これ以上私を怒らせないで。
Sora, please don't make me any angrier.
他の連中は騙せてる。私に嘘は通じないの。
You might be able to trick the others, but lies won't work on me.
嘘ではありません。
It's not a lie.
まだ言う気？
You still sticking to that line? It was a bad scene. Something about the whole thing screamed danger. It wouldn't do to let the two go at it like that. I retraced my steps, hurrying into the conference room. Ah, everyone, we got trouble. Without waiting for the door to completely open, I bounded into the room.
早かったな。
Oh, that was quick.
ただごとじゃないみたいだな。
Sounds like something big's going down.
大変ってどういうこと？
Trouble? What kind of trouble? Come on, we gotta go and stop it. I had told them this to struggle to get my breath back.
止める？おい、ちゃんと説明してくれ。
Stop what? Hey, explain what's going on.
何があったの？
What happened? The central control room. Sora and Scooby, I found them fighting. I just couldn't watch, so I...
暑いね。こんな時に。
This is bad news at a time like this.
行こう。止めようよ。
Let's go, we gotta stop them.
ああ、早いとこ行くぞ。
Yeah, we better hurry. We burst into the room. The room was full of sharp words and barbed looks. The atmosphere is tense, left a bad taste in my mouth. Nothing had changed at all. It might be safe to say that things had gotten
ド
worse.
リットストックの下にフロアはありません。降りることはできないんです。
There are dirty floors underneath the treasure stock. We can't go down any further.
嘘。
Liar.
あなたは嘘をついている。
You're lying.
私には分かっている。
I know. Oh, how I
私
know.
は知っているの。
Oh, wow, that was a very long pause. Oh well.
レミューにはさらに下の階があるって。
I know that there's another floor under the Mew.
レミューとは別の施設。それがこの真下にあるの。ずーっと下の方にいる。
I know about the other facilities under here. Way under the Mew.
ね。そうでしょ。
I'm right, aren't I?
その問いにはこうお答えするしかありません。
There is only one answer to your question.
そんな施設など存在しませんと。
No such facilities exist.
そんなはずはないでしょ。
There have to be.
じゃああの部屋は何？
What about that
あ
room?
のヒンメルは一体何なのよ。
What is that Himmel about? Himmel? I thought I had heard... No, I'd seen it before. The name of a room? Where have I seen it? but my memory was vague and I couldn't connect with any information in my brain.
いい？あなたは知らないだろうけど、あの扉は今日。
Listen, you don't know about it, but today the door is...
おい、つぐみ
Hey, Scoomy. Suddenly Taksha got between them.
つぐみその話俺にも聞かせてもらおうか
Scoomy, why don't you tell me about that?
ここまで聞いちまったんだもう隠し事も何もないだろ
If we've all heard this much, you can't have anything more to hide, right? Taksha stared intently at Scoomy. Taksha turned back to us.
なあ悪いんだけど
Hey, if you don't
こ
mind,
こは俺に任せてくれないか
I'll take care of this. Uh-huh?
何それ？
What?
私たちは出て行けってこと？
Are you telling us to leave?
ああ大人数であれこれ言い合っても収集がつかなくなるだけだろ
Yeah, with this many people arguing, nothing will get settled.
だからここは俺と空とつぐみに任せてくれ
So, just leave this to me, Sora, and Sugumi.
しばらく3人だけにしてくれ
Leave us alone for a bit. Alright, let's leave this to Takshi.
少年？
Kid?
なんでそんな重要な話し合いで私たちだけがのけ者にならなきゃいけないわけ？
Why should the three of us be excluded from such an important discussion? I trust Takshi. And he has trust in us. Takshi has his own take on things. I think we should go with what he thinks.
サンキュー少年すまんな
Thanks, kid.
しょうがないな。じゃあグラナリあんたに任せるからね。
Oh, whatever. Fine, Takshi, we'll leave it up to you, okay?
ああわかった
Alright, I got it. We left the three of them in the control room. Nice. Alright. Well, that feels like as good a place as any to call for today. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see y'all next time.